I wanted to talk about ending a campaign, specifically a 5th edition D&D campaign. I've never actually purposefully ended a campaign before, and it was a bit of a strange experience. I've had many campaigns that have stopped, they've come to a natural end, people have stopped playing, we've drifted away, but to actually decide to physically go, no, that'll do, we're going to start again, was a bit of a strange decision to make. And even though I was the one that suggested it, I do somewhat feel like perhaps I failed in some way. As a DM, it's my responsibility to make sure the game runs well and is fun. But I feel that even though it seemed enjoyable at the time, when I offered the opportunity to clean slate, everyone was very eager to jump on, which definitely made me feel a little, not uncomfortable, but as if perhaps I'd let them down. The campaign in question was a somewhat homebrew modified version of the Sunless Citadel from the Yawning Portal. It was quite good. There was 3 of us in the party. We don't play very often. Everyone was quite new to D&D and everyone seemed to have fun. However, I think it was perhaps the wrong way to introduce D&D. I'm not entirely sure. I was looking around and everyone seemed to enjoy the Sunless Citadel and recommend it as a beginner adventure. And I have played it once before with other people and they definitely enjoyed it. However, I think to just jump straight into that perhaps was a mistake. And I only say that because I think the dungeon crawl aspect was almost quite oppressive. All in all, the party were very successful. They completed their mission, they did what they set out to do, but 2 of them ended up dying. Now, one of them died early on. It took 2 sessions to do this, so he died midway through the first session. It was a very bad roll. I got caught by a breath weapon from a dragon, and that was the end of it. He was perfectly fine with it. He rolled the dice and, they're all good sports. He took over one of the NPCs that we had with the party. They were there specifically for that, which perhaps that's prepping for failure, I don't know, but it is one of these things that I thought it was a good idea and it did turn out to be one. The second party member who died in the final battle. And I think that was a little disappointing because they felt they didn't get to, perhaps they weren't a part of the victory in the same way, but they did a good job. It was simply, they were a squishier class and powerful enemies will do that to you. Essentially the decision to end the campaign came after we'd stopped playing, and we were talking about how we wanted to introduce 2 new characters for the players to take over. One of them didn't want to stay as the NPC, even though he enjoyed his time as it. And the only surviving player has a fondness for magic, but decided to branch out into a barbarian and wasn't really enjoying the situation. So he decided he wanted to try and go back to a more magical based character. And after suggesting that I've been prepping for another group, the Curse of Strahd, they were very eager to take that on. Now, I'm perfectly fine to do this. In fact, to be honest, I'm quite looking forward to it, but I am curious if it represents somewhat of a failure on my behalf that they didn't want to continue with the current campaign. It's just something I've been thinking about, and realistically speaking, it's not a big deal. I'm really looking forward to the next one, but I just I wonder if I could have played that campaign in a way that made it more enjoyable, or at least made the characters want to carry on. But to be honest, my biggest takeaway from this is that I think it is okay to start again. I think sometimes you can just clean slate, and that's the best thing for your campaign and your group. And truthfully, maybe there is some things that could have been done better, but I'm kind of looking forward to the opportunity to start again. The Curse of Strahd could definitely be something that is a very fun experience, even though I'm kind of curious how I'm going to handle the dark aspects of it, as I found that the Sunless Citadel could be a little oppressive, and I feel the Curse of Strahd will be a lot worse. I think it's important to remember that you're there to have fun, and that adding levity into a situation is sometimes the best thing you can do. Even if it sacrifices perhaps the immersion, I think it's better to have a fun time with your friends opposed to an immersive game that isn't as enjoyable. If anyone has any similar experiences or advice, I'd be very interested to see. And yeah, thanks for listening.